Hello, this is Crypto CJ. Welcome to today's trade of the day. It's the Friday afternoon Zoom edition, and Bitcoin has been just kind of a bummer lately. We got a little drama this morning, not much, and mostly just kind of going sideways. So let's go check out the chart. All right. You guys should be seeing my Bitcoin 5-minute chart.
Yes.
Let's go to the day. Thank you for that.
No, it's a day chart.
It's a day chart. It's a day chart. Yeah.
Yeah, I just switched over, so we're good. All right, so we're still in the sweet spot on my fibs. If we're looking at this kind of long term, make a little more recent, slight descending trend line here. Maybe you need to move it a bit lower. Bitcoin's been hanging around 46K for well, since the 13th, so last 4 or 5 days. Not really doing much. 50,000 seems to be resistance now. We got it to 49.5 yesterday and the day before. We haven't gotten back to 50 since since here on the 12th. So I did check on the news. There's a little bit going on. We had this news item here. SEC further delays Bitcoin spot ETF decision. Anything we can do to get more money into Bitcoin and other cryptos does help the market. A spot ETF, I'm not sure if that would actually require if an ETF actually buys Bitcoin or just like mimics its price movement. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but these kind of moves tend to work positively when the SEC approves something. In this situation, they kicked it down the road. So and that came out this afternoon, and we did have a drop this afternoon. Let's go to the 15-minute chart. Yeah, right about here is when that drop happened. Pretty steep, actually, down to 45.5, and then bounced back up. So not sure if that's cause and effect or not, but anybody else know any Bitcoin or crypto news that could be making this market so dreary, maybe other than the holidays and people just not trading? Or maybe I'm supposed to know that, but as a day trader, I'm not always as plugged into the news as I should be, but it is good to know what is going on. All right, that's Bitcoin. Let's look at Ethereum. Yeah, that's a 3-minute chart. Whoa, what was I doing there? I will dabble with the 1 and the 3-minute chart from time to time if I'm testing something, but that's not usually a default. Okay, so here we are on the day chart on Ethereum. Still seems to be, actually I just drew this. Yeah, we had this big drop on the 3rd, and then we've had a couple drops last couple days, and this is the same. We had this one early this morning, but it bounced right back. So not sure if it's honoring this trend line or my my fib line here, but seems to have support around 3650. Resistance now around 4100. So not a great range. Yeah, that's only about a couple percent. Well, 11%, but that's a 4-hour chart though. So yeah, it's just kind of bopping in between these levels, not really making a move yet. It's been kind of frustrating. All right. Well, that's about all I have to say about the Bitcoin and Ethereum charts. Anybody have anything to add to those or the crypto market in general? If not, we will go to Altcoin Alert, see what we can find there. All right. Altcoin Alert. I took a quick look at the AA scores and curve. CRV came up. It's had a pretty nice move today. Got some other positive indications, but I'm liking this very bullish. So let's check it out. I've got the Binance chart up here. We'll go for the big picture first. And it looks like we hit an all-time high on CRV recently. So yeah, we're way past the 450 it was this spring. We hit 630 late in November. Dropped down the threes, then came back up to 450, then dropped a little bit around 425. On the hour, let's see, we are having a nice move here from this morning up until right about now. Wow, over 30%, big move today. Gave some of it back, then went up again. So some room to move on this one. But is it too late? You see a move that big. I think, yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, it's the last 24 hours. I'm not sure if that's a UTC time matter or not, but yeah, it's already had a pretty big move. That concerns me. I think it's a bit dangerous to play up here. 15-minute chart, yeah. It's mostly higher highs and higher lows, so that's encouraging. Pretty good trend. Me, I'd rather catch this in a dip trade, down here, the big bubble. I don't really have an example to show you at the moment. This is sort of a dip trade here. You got to squeeze, it bubbles out. It only does one dip. One, well, kind of two dips. The MACD crosses here. But right as it crosses, then it drops again. But had you gotten in there, you would have lost it first. Then eventually had a nice run. Yeah, probably would have gone looked at this for guidance on that situation. Retrace 4%. You got some more candles clumped here for around 6%. So both of those would have been hit in less than 5 hours. That's a good day trade. But for the moment, squeeze city. So only got less than 3%. It is bubbling out a little bit. Spike in volume here and again here, but there's just not much going on right now. That's sort of the downside of this particular time. It's late in the day in the US. It's Saturday morning in Asia, so not always a lot going on for us to look at. But well, let's try to predict or plan for the future. Probably want to put an alert down here around 375. We've got some short-term support there, here and here, maybe 377, 378. Say between 375 and 380, I think that's where I'd want to catch this. And see if I can catch it, ride it back up to, $4 in 30 cents, where we have some short-term resistance. So
Question.
Sure, go ahead.
So when you're breaking through on the, on the squeeze like that, that doesn't indicate anything to you? Just curious. I mean, you were saying 3%. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
3% trade's pretty good for a day trade.
No, I mean, as far as the Bollinger Band
Oh,
squeeze.
yeah. That's not good.
Why is that
I want
not
more. Good? I want this. I want bubbles.
Okay.
Or even something like this, where it's a smaller bubble. That just shows there's more room to move. it's hard to predict this because it can shoot up or shoot down. You just, there's no indication of really any kind of direction. And it's just choppy and hanging around the SMA line. So it might do one more bounce. You know, it has bounced off the SMA line a couple times. You know, it might do this again. Yeah, that's 3.5%. That's pretty good. But yeah, I like the dip better. So
I find it interesting that it had a big bubble and it went down, and then it didn't go down below the Bollinger Bands, but once or maybe twice, and then it really shot up and it's got another big bubble there.
yeah, we had a bunch of volume in here. You know, so it'll bubble whether it's going up or down. The bubbling is more of an indication of the volume, momentum, you know, particular interest in this time for this particular token. So that's why we like bubbles and more distance between the Bollinger Bands.
Okay.
Volatility.
I find it interesting that it dropped down to the bottom of price and the MFI broke below the 20, and then it shot up like the way that it did. But then it didn't come back the same way it did, but also the MFI didn't break, and you understand what you know, you see what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah,
it's proving out the pattern.
the
But
MFI doesn't
that's
quite match this. So is
that's
that what you
kind of,
mean?
yeah. Well, it was following the pattern that we talked about before, and then it broke. It's kind of, it's weird. It's weird the way it did that. Usually it doesn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, the indicators, you know, aren't always consistent. They're mostly consistent, but yeah, and that could be different divergence. Though it's not, it's the same direction. It's just more pronounced on the MFI than it is on the actual price action. So, but there's probably, yeah, there's a little bit of
So
divergence.
if you would have seen it at that first bubble where it went down so much, would you have gotten in then? Would there be other indicators that would have given you the thought to get in between the two big bubbles?
Yeah, I'm gonna deal with that. See, I'm gonna draw out some divergence here.
CJ and Cheryl,
Yeah.
it just seems like it missed that 1, 2, 3 dip before it went up. That's the confusing part to me. Pardon
Both
my voice.
times.
Yeah. Yeah, we had more of a dead cat bounce here. And yeah, it only went down once. And then I've talked about having 2 dips and then using your MACD to you know, when you have a cross to get in, that would have worked here. You know, you had the big drop, you have a pretty good move, MACD crosses right about here, then dips again, but then shoots up. I don't know, there's not much TA supporting this, but you know, that would have been an okay move, I suppose. But anyway, we do have some divergence on the MFI where it's trending, you know, it's going bearish here, then it goes bullish here, and then it just drops right here. So that's why I've been trying to incorporate more divergence into my trading, but I'll probably talk about that at another time.
If I can add a comment, and you know, my background is from stocks or Forex and indexes, but very often when you have a move like this that is really fast off of the almost what appears to be a bottom, this is what a lot of people that I trade with would call an order block, a very, very fast move. And you'll notice between, say, that candle and that candle, these do not join up. That is what they would typically refer to as imbalance. Imbalance is always filled, and you can see that right here. I mean, obviously we're kind of cherry picking here, but very often when there's super fast moves like that, and there is imbalance between, say, candle 1 and candle 3, candle 2 is always that gap. Those gaps typically, at least in my experience, are always always filled at some point in time. Not always like this move right back, but that kind of coincided nicely with it coming outside of the Bollinger and back down to here. And I haven't really studied this particular concept with cryptos. I have a friend who says it works exactly the same way. And it's called order blocks. It's a smart money concept and imbalance. It might be something to have a look at if you're curious as to, price movement. I've just noticed it the last little while, but it does seem to flow in a similar fashion in cryptos. But again, I'm kind of cherry picking that a little bit. But it is a concept that seems to hold water in most of the other markets.
Yeah, they do
Just
talk
a-
about gaps being filled on the larger time frames. You don't see it, really on the 5 minute, but I've heard those comparisons before.
Yeah, I mean, you will see it in 5, but obviously if you're, if you're scalping, it's a little bit different. But on the day trading side, it's certainly a lot more evident, and it's not immediate. I mean, this one just happens to work out quite well because of that large move up, the bounce outside of the band, and the coming back down. Those gaps are definitely filled.
Mhm.
And almost to the point of where the order block is. But those are some interesting concepts, order blocks and imbalances, that are starting to kind of get a lot more traction in the forex and the index world. Again, I would think they would work the same in cryptos as well.
Yeah,
I haven't really closely.
have to keep an eye on that. That's another thing we can
Mhm.
incorporate. Someone asked me a question. I missed it. Linnell, was that you? Did you ask me something about this? Or did we talk about it?
We talked about it.
All right, we're good. Okay, so that's CRV. Any more questions on this before we look at something else?
Do you draw any conclusion from your divergence?
Well, it already happened. So we were talking about why this didn't move quite as much and match up with the MFI. That just we had the big drop, so this would have been a good short based on this information. But it did bounce back. So anyway. Okay, Frank said there's a morning star something pattern with the MFI drop in RSI. Okay, I'm not quite following that, Frank. Might have to clarify, or feel free to speak up. All right, let's see what else Altcoin Alert has. Well, that's the only very bullish one we had. We could look at some bullish ones as well, but I don't usually, to be candid, I don't usually look at those. Because I want an 80 score better on the AA score. So we will do some sorts. We've been doing the long-term sentiment sort lately. This one, I didn't really see anything I wanted to trade this morning, but we have a few new entries now. So you're in finance. It's already up 31% though. It's only got neutral AA, which might mean that AA thinks it's played out. This is a little more interesting. We've got very bullish and a negative score, an MX token. Not really familiar with that one. DFI money, YFII. It's been a while since I traded these. ETC, Ethereum Classic. Go look at that one. Okay, Frank's mentioning a Morningstar candle. I have spent some time learning about candles, but I don't necessarily know what all of them are as far as the, they all have a different name. There's, tops and morning stars and things like that. I don't have all those memorized, but anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, ETC. So on the day chart, had a big move back in May, Hasn't really done much since then. Did come back somewhat in August and September, mostly trending down since then. Maybe it's due. On the hour, trending down, 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 higher, lower highs, lower lows. The 5 minute. Had the drop this morning, came back pretty strong, sideways ever since. Well, nothing's that encouraging here. Got some short-term support here. Around $34. Kind of squeezy in the Bollinger Bands at the moment. It's a pretty good example of a 1, 2, 3 dip. Got the 1, 2, 3, actually a 4th dip. Get in here. You know, to the SMA lines 2%. Not bad, not great. Maybe you go up here for this resistance, get 3.2%. More resistance here at around 4%. Any of those levels you would have gotten out with 3 to 4% in a little over an hour. It's a pretty good day trade. So this is a scenario I look for. This is my favorite. But when I see this kind of choppy action between the Bollinger Bands hanging around the SMA line, not so much. So I'd probably put an alert either down here in the support around 33.50, or maybe here at $34, and try to catch one or both of those dips, and hopefully we get another, get some more action like this. All right. Any questions on ETC? All right.
I have a general question, CJ. Just
Okay.
as a day trader, like what's your process to start the day to get in to then go and obviously find trades that you're going to do for the day?
Well, Leanne, I've done a video on that very topic. So it's about
Perfect.
15, 16 minutes long. I think I did it spring or summer, and it really just goes over, the information sources I look at, and how I use Altcoin Alert in the morning, and a couple other information sources that I use. I mean, that was 6 months ago. That's changed to some degree, but I think it's a good, it's a good guide for anybody starting out in day trading. You don't have to use all of my suggestions. You use some of them, and there's, so much information out there. I probably need to find a better news source, something that I don't have to watch an hour-long video. I used to watch I can't remember, Ran and Sheldon, those guys in South Africa. That's a
Crypto
good
banter.
Crypto banter, but it's, it's an hour, 2 hours, it's too long. So I do get a highlight of it through another group I'm in, so that's helpful. But yeah, so I'm open to suggestions for just a Bitcoin news flash source. Probably figured out in a few Google searches, but I'd rather have something that people are relying on consistently. But yeah, I look at some kind of news. I look at I usually have some charts left over from the day before. I look at Altcoin Alert, obviously, another source called Coin Pro that I talk about on Monday nights. So those are help me find coins. Sometimes if I don't find what I'm looking for there, I might just do a sort based on one of my lists. Right now it's alphabetical, but I can sort by the change. That's the negative. This is the positive. I mean, we just looked at YFI and YFII. They had big moves today. Actually, while we have them, we should just check them out. And then sometimes we get news items here that are relevant, through TradingView. These are just.
So that list that you just brought up, is that one that you've made
Yes.
for yourself of stock where cryptos you like to trade?
Right, and that's my Fib retracement list, and that's the one you see on most of my videos, but I've got some others. You know, it's a leverage platform I trade on, Bybit and Femex. It's one I used to trade on, Binance Perpetual. So these are the ones I look at. It's this one and this one are the ones I look at the most, and these are mostly older ones left over from, you know, other strategies and approaches. But
Yeah.
so I hope that helps. Did that answer your question, Leanne?
Yeah, thank you. That's
All
great.
right. Email me if you can't find my day in the life of a day trader video.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
it's on
you.
Patrick's list if you have that. But
Yeah, I do.
all right.
Do you remember the title of it?
I think it's a day in the life of a day trader. But yeah, if you can't find it, email me and I'll track it down for you.
CJ, is
Yes.
Binance Perpetual, is that the same as Binance, or is that a slightly different platform that they promote?
It's the same. It's the international Binance, and then the perpetuals are, you know, futures trading. So I was doing that, and then they started requiring KYC, and I couldn't do it anymore, which is a bummer because I liked it a lot. But Bybit's pretty good.
Because
So.
is that because you're in the States? Is Binance particular about that?
Well, they require KYC for everybody now. So, and you know, I would be disallowed being an American. So, bummer.
It's okay. We have our as Albertans, we get punted from a lot of American sites. They won't even talk to you. As soon as you say Calgary, Alberta, it's like click.
Yeah, you told me about some of your history with that. So I don't know what's going on with
Lots of fun.
Arizona and Alberta. What's the problem here?
Our laws are
All
too
right.
strict up here.
Patrick put the name of my video in the chat. I did it longer ago than I thought. I did it in April. So CJ's day in the life of a day trader. So thank you for that, Patrick. And okay, YFI, we were looking at that. It's up 35% today, but it was on that on the very bullish long-term sentiment. So maybe you could scalp off a couple percent. I still think it's kind of risky up here. Don't think that's an all-time high though, is it? No, we had wow, it almost hit 100K back in May. I remember this drama. Yeah, it was way more than Bitcoin for a while in May. On the hour, yeah, just shooting up. And so what do we do now? I don't know. I'm not comfortable with this, but for people who are even more of a cowboy than I am, you know, you might want to. I mean, we're getting a little bit of a higher high here. It's trending up. What's Bitcoin doing? This token often ignores Bitcoin though, so it's one thing I do like about it. So to get 5%, you know, you'd have to go. It's 33.6 now. Yeah, you have to get over 35. It's doable, but it hasn't been there in months. So that's the risk you take when you're trying to catch something that's really hot. YFII looks about the same. There's some relation between these two tokens. I don't recall what it is, but Urine Finance is what the first one's called. I'm not sure what this one's called. Maybe Urine Finance Junior. Yeah, pretty similar situation. I don't like trading up here, so yeah, I'm not going to do that one. Let's see. Let's look at this. What is MX token? I'm kind of curious about that. It's on Kucoin. Day chart. Okay, it's been on Kucoin since May. Big pump then, not much since. Kind of a gradual rise. From, yeah, it's about doubled. It's hard to see in this, the way this is configured. The hour. Got some resistance here about a week ago. A couple spikes along the way, mostly dropping though. If you bought it now, I'm not loving this at all. Retracing only to about 2%. Spike here at 4%, but no other resistance. I think I like it better down here. Went through this dip sequence and jumped up nicely. So that's around 4.5 cents, 4.6 cents. So if you caught it there, rode it back up to where it is now, that's 4%. That's not bad. So I think that's what I would do if I was going to trade this. Set an alert down here around 4.6, 4.7 cents and try to catch a retrace back here. But I don't know anything about this one, so. All right, well, that covers long-term sentiment. I have shorted some of these doing this sort. I've been in Tron today. It was on this list this morning. Yeah. It's just kind of laying there. I'm in profit, but not much. Axie is intriguing, but I don't want to encourage too much leverage on trading with you guys yet. So perhaps we'll graduate to that in a few months. All right, let's look at the social activity sort. All right. Sometimes we'll get very bullish on the long-term sentiment and bullish on the elder impulse. So that's where we have the Twitter information and the technicals both on our side. So that's an appealing sort. We haven't been seeing these line up that much lately. If we get a very bullish, then we get neutral or bearish on the elder impulse daily. Bullish and bullish on SNTVT, Centivate. I'm usually looking for very bullish on long-term sentiment. Let's check this out anyway. SNTVT. It's on Kucoin, but you know what, guys? I've got a second call from my mother's assisted living place, so I've got to call them back. How about I go silent for a bit and you guys talk amongst yourselves? Can we do that?
Sure.
All right, appreciate it.
You want to stop the recording or?
He's probably off now.
Yeah.
You guys can be interesting enough. You can handle it.
Yeah,
right,
tell that joke, you know.
All right. Day trading, successes and failures, discuss.
Is there anyone
So I have
here who is successfully day trading?
Yeah, I do that, but I don't trade cryptos. I've been trading a long time. I switched from Forex to indexes. Forex was a rather arduous process, particularly working from 11 to 7 at night, being in Western Canada.
Yeah.
So I day trade. I day trade the indexes, primarily the Dow, the Nasdaq, sometimes the DAX in the evening if I'm up late. Not a lot, very seldomly. I've been doing that for
Are you
about.
looking to apply that to cryptos and do day trading?
No, actually, I'm not, to tell you the truth. I don't know enough about this market. My primary reason for getting, initially I was thinking about it, but I think more the buy and the hold. for down the road. I've been funded, and I'm going for another funding. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but there's a lot of companies out there that will actually fund you to trade cash, and they'll pay you actually quite well. And some of them do offer cryptos as well. So I do okay with that on a day trade side. That's my bread and butter, if you will. So just the fact that I don't really know a lot about the crypto market, I just thought more of a buy and hold strategy for now is probably more suited to my knowledge level in this. And as I was saying, earlier, I would assume to a certain extent the charting and the technical information that I know probably applies to a certain extent in the crypto market, but it's not something that I've really sat down closely and kind of taken my strategy and tested it. I should try that actually one of these days, just to see how it works. I think there's probably a tremendous amount of, well, I shouldn't say that. I would think there's some similarities in the concepts, but I'm not too sure yet. So, how many of you are kind of seasoned traders, I guess, or how many of you have been in trading less than, say, 5 years? A lot of you?
Me. I'm back there. Thanks for helping out. Yeah, just a logistical thing with mom, so we're all good. But all right. I caught the end of what Daniel was saying. Yeah, I've watched dozens of Forex and indices and charts like that type videos and trainings, and I do think they apply significantly to crypto as well. So, not sure if that addresses, was there anything else you guys want to wrap up with what Daniel was talking about, or are we good to go?
I think we're
The question
good.
about how many people have been trading, it was probably a relevant one, because I think most of us are relatively new.
Yeah, most people on, who do attend this are either considering day trading or sort of dabbling in it. I'm not really aware of too many who do it to the extent I do, because I think, there's really only so much I can share with you guys, and then eventually you're gonna, move on and probably not watch the show anymore, and that's okay. So,
And CJ,
yeah.
like, because you've now been day trading for some time.
Yeah, a couple
if I
years.
look back at your videos, what was that, couple of years?
Mhm.
Are your results consistent? Do you make consistent profits every day or every week? I'm not sure how you measure it.
Wow, I would be a superstar if I did that. But to answer your question candidly, on spot trading, I did pretty well on that, and made profits pretty consistently. When I started in leverage trading in May, that was wildly erratic. So I can't confidently say I'm a profitable day trader on leverage yet. I feel pretty good about talking about spot, and that's why I focus my show on that. But since I'm trying to get better, I'm better at it than I was in May, but on the leverage
Is your strategy different, CJ, than do you have a different strategy from spot trading to leverage trading?
I'm usually doing 2 or 3 strategies. So I still use, Altcoin Alert and iCoin Pro to find, dip trades and things like that. I still, and then what I'm really trying to do to try to generate more consistent income is do more things involving scalping and using more money, higher leverage, and stop losses.
Tighter stops, yeah.
Yeah. So that's,
Scalping.
I've got the exit strategy that I want. I just have to find the strategy that works consistently with it. And that's been more trying. Each time I think I have it, then I end up having a bunch of losses, and it's like, oh man, I gotta start over. Or maybe it just needs to be tweaked. So, but
well, scalping, historically, scalpers do better than day traders. And I never used to believe that, and then I started doing it. And it's like, yeah, it actually, if you can get you can get a method that you can, use. The one thing that I would say for those of you that are new is do not judge yourself on a daily basis, because you will have bad days and it doesn't mean anything. You need to look at how you do over the course of 2 weeks or a month. I know way too many traders who are, oh, I feel awful, I did terrible. Well, how many trades are you talking about here? Oh, the 2 trades I took today. You mean you had a bad day? Yeah. We all have bad days.
Yeah.
You don't ever judge yourself on a daily rate. That is just a recipe for disaster. You need to do it over at least a month or so, because then you're going to see areas of consistency.
Well, Daniel, you've inspired me. I'm gonna not trash that strategy I was thinking, and because it was doing okay over, when I think about 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, it's all right.
If there's a great series by a guy, and I always forget his name, but he's extremely well known in the trading industry. It's called How to Trade Like a Professional. And when I find his name, I'll pass it on to you, CJ. Watch that series. It's on YouTube. It is, without question, probably one of the best psychological series that you can. Well, I'll try to find it while we're sitting here. It's not very long. It's probably about 2 hours. But it is definitely worth the watch if you are new to the trading business. Because psychology is such a huge part of this business.
That's true.
If you're not, you're going to have losing days. That's all there is to it. And you have to be able to, I had a losing day. Tomorrow I'm going to have a better day. I had another losing day. Tomorrow's going to be a different day. And if you have a system that works, that has a certain level of consistency over time, it will work out okay. But you have to believe in it. And you just have to, Amanda asked where in Alberta. I live in Calgary, Amanda. I'll find the name for you, okay, while we're here.
Yeah, I think I read a book like that. It might have been a different title, but pretty similar.
It's probably the same guy. I wouldn't be surprised.
Anyway,
I'll find it.
And that's the mental side of this is so important. We can talk about strategies and all that, but if you can't handle the mental aspect, it's really difficult.
Right.
And for me, spot trading and ladder buying was made a lot of sense, and it helped fix bad luck and some mistakes. But when you do the strategy I just talked about, where you have to use stop losses because the money's too much to risk on on several days, on leverage, and you got to use stop losses. So it's just a loss, if you have 3 or 4 or 5 losses in a row, then that can ruin your day. So that's what Daniel's talking about. So fortunately, what I'm talking about on here is, we're doing spot trading with, and I talk about, the ladder buying as a backup plan, or even going in at half or a third of what you would usually do if you're doing something that is a little risky. So so what Daniel and I are talking about is a little beyond that. So
the guy's name is Mark Douglas. I put the link in the chat. I would highly recommend that all of you watch this short series. It's 1 of 4. He is probably one of the premier.
He wrote Trading in the Zone, which I read 20 years ago, and I went, that's it.
It is it. He almost doesn't really talk too much about trading. It's more of your plan, your consistency, your living, kind of what you need to do regardless of the other stuff in order to maintain your sanity in this business, because it's it can be tough, without a doubt, as you will find out.
All right, I appreciate that. I made a note of it. Suggest you guys do the same. And we're at about 45 minutes now. Is there anything else you guys want to go over?
What's scalping?
Scalping is where I'm trying to make usually less than 1%. So, or maybe right at 1%. So like I was trading Ethereum and Bitcoin because the volume's high on Bybit. I'm trying to get like 0.7 as a win, 0.5 as a loss. And if I can, do that and have 60% wins, the recovery is really good. So that's my goal on that side. And then I still do the spot trading, and I still do leverage, incorporating what I talked to you guys about, you know, the 1, 2, 3 dip, and I really like retraces and support and resistance. So that's never going to go away. I'm going to trade like that as well. So I'm sort of doing 3 strategies. 2 I feel really good about because I've done them for years, and then the other one's sort of new to me, and that's more of a test phase. And if that works consistently, I'll teach it to you guys. So,
are there particular cryptos that you only trade, that you only scalp on, CJ? And some you just don't, or does it matter?
those 2 are Bitcoin and Ethereum because of the volume. I've dabbled
Right,
with a
yeah.
couple others, and it didn't work because they're too volatile.
Yeah, you need the
Yeah.
you need the volume, you need the
I
volatility.
need the
of it,
volume,
too.
and I need a little less volatility than, say, trying Solana or something like that. And I tried that one day, and that was bad. That was a bad day. So
you gotta be able to pull
Yeah.
that trigger really quick when you're a scalper. There's no well, by that time it's like too late.
that made me nuts, because had I been using my usual tactics of you know, a bigger margin or incorporating ladder buying, all those trades would have been profitable. But since I'm at a higher leverage and higher money, it doesn't work that way. You can't take that risk. So
No.
anyway, well, we were all over the place today, all because of my mother's assisted living calling, and that's all right. Well, I like it when we mix it up like this. It's more fun for me. I think it helps everybody. So with that, I'm going to stop the recording. You guys attending, I appreciate it. And those of you watching on the recording, I appreciate you guys as well. Happy trading. Have a good weekend. We will see you next time. I'll hang around a little longer for anything else you guys want to talk about.